In today's episode. What's that? Need me to refeed labels? Can't do that, I'm afraid. So my hair isn't acceptable, what would you suggest? District manager tries to throw me under the bus when caught not doing his job and inadvertently provides self-documentation to the president/owner that he's lying. So let's get started. What's that? Need me to refeed labels? Can't do that, I'm afraid. Greetings, salutations and all that good stuff, Reddit peeps. Hope your 2021 is going well enough first and foremost. It's been quite a while since I posted on this subreddit, but I promise today's tale of malicious compliance will be a good read. So buckle up, grab that tea and get ready for another tale of my own brand of malicious compliance. So a bit of background to set the stage here. I work as a network administrator at a food processing plant. I cover a lot of bases in the IT field within the company to ensure our infrastructure is maintained for all to do their jobs well in. My previous posts have covered quite the degree of shenanigans that I had to put up with, and while this one is a bit tamer than my other posts, make no mistake that it still snowballed into some sweet revenge. Today's story is gonna involve yours truly, some training, and labels. So let me just say that this was years in the making due to how many avenues we've had to cover to avoid getting to this point, which I'll cover here shortly. So to break it down, in the production area, there are machines we utilize that weigh product and print out labels appropriate to said product. Drumsticks have their own product code, tenders, thighs, etc. From time to time, we get a garden variety of issues called on to check out. Some that are legit a concern we need to check out, such as software/hardware concerns. Then, there are the ones that doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, the most notorious being that labels are misfed by a country mile. There are other ones such as the USB cable that connects to the rear of the label printer being unplugged. Power-related issues because they honestly want to believe IT doubles as electricians. Issues that relate to SKUs themselves, those get handled by QA. Over the last couple of years, we've tried to inform management that there are do's and don'ts that IT can support, but unfortunately most fall victim to the "I don't remember" curse. Last week was ultimately the straw that broke the camel's back for me, having to witness not one, not two, not even three, but 5 printers out on the floor that all had some of those issues, most notably being the labels. So we, the IT department, decided it was time to have a sit-down with management and pretty much lay down the law on this. What was said was, we've provided you the training materials, I've stayed behind after work and early for both shifts to cover said training materials. That if we are called on to check out a printer from now on and it fits any of the criteria we deem is something the user can investigate, we will walk away until that condition is met first. My boss had already signed off on this as well, emailing the head honchos themselves of the same discussion. Having agreed to the terms, I made sure to have every last one of the production management sign off on the agreement of the terms to ensure everyone follows the same sheet of music. Wouldn't you know, however, that not even a week after the sit-down, I've already encountered my first one. The user called me over the radio, informing me that they are having issues getting the printer to generate any labels with their machine. Having asked over the radio if they've inspected the printer, I was informed that they did and proceeded to make my way down there. What I found was well beyond what I had thought. Inspecting the device, I encountered the following. The USB cable was unplugged. The touchscreen needed calibration. The printer itself had its default settings restored. And the most obvious of all, the label was misfed by a country mile. I called the lead over to investigate and asked if she was aware of this, to which she said without hesitation, no. Heaving a sigh, I told her that the only things I will do is calibrate the touchscreen and restore the proper settings to the printer. She would need to have to do the rest. Here's how the rest of the convo went. User, well, you're here now, why don't you do it? Me, because I won't, it's that simple. User, well, why not? Me, because it was part of that agreement that you and the others signed off on, remember? User, well, it's only one time. I'll remember for next time. Me, there isn't gonna be a next time because there won't be a this time. You signed the agreement knowing what I outlined for you all. User, so you're just gonna leave this as is? Me, pretty much. You can either set it back as is or leave it, but ultimately this falls on you. User, you're being unprofessional, you know that? I'll inform your boss about this. Me, you go right ahead. I already have pictures of what I encountered, and since you signed the agreement, I promise this will fall back on you in the end. The user ultimately caved and went ahead and corrected the two discrepancies, and just like that, the printer started feeding the labels it was backed up on because of the error. In the end, our department did as best we could to assist our users, but there's gotta be a line drawn somewhere for these sort of things. Anyways, that pretty much sums up today's story, but I hope you all are still staying safe out there, and as always, thanks for reading. Oh yeah, I've even included a nice picture of how the label was initially fed. Pure logic right there, right? Smiley face. So my hair isn't acceptable, what would you suggest? Obligatory long time / first time, and on mobile. This takes place in the early 00s. I was working in a video / DVD rental store at the time, and was only a couple of weeks into the job, but was enjoying my time there. At the store was me, 2 managers, other guy working the register, and the regional manager for the area. I've always liked having a splash of color in my hair, and it had never been an issue with employment until this instance. At the time, I had my natural brunette hair short and spiked up, with a blue patch at the front, which happened to be the same shade as our employee shirts, which pleased me. One day, a few weeks into the job, the regional manager walked in, a woman with a chip on her shoulder the size of her ego. She did her checks on how the store was running, etc., and was talking to me as I was the newest employee there, making sure I knew what I was doing and stuff. As she finishes up, she says offhand to me, "By the way, you'll have to take that color out of your hair. I want it gone before my next visit." This surprised me, as I'd read the employee handbook to make sure I was following all uniform guidelines, and made sure it wasn't an issue with the 2 shop managers, so I asked her why I had to change my hair. She instantly got huffy and puffed out her chest and said, "Because I told you to. Are you questioning me?" Me, no, I was just wondering what guidelines I've broken, as I've read the employee in uniform regulations and didn't see anything about hair color in there, and want to be sure I haven't missed something. Regional manager, because I told you so, and it's an unnatural hair color, you'll have to get rid of it. That annoyed me, as I'd never liked having to do something just because. So I told her. Well, other guy at the register has bleach tips, manager 1 dyes her hair blonde, and manager 2 has maroon hair. None of those are their natural colors, so I don't understand why I'm getting singled out. Regional manager did not like this, and since she couldn't give me an answer, just repeated, "Because I'm your boss, and I told you so, and if you don't want to change your hair you can leave. I will be in next week, and I want that color gone." So I said, "I understand, I'll fix it, no worries." But just to be clear, so I'm in keeping with your guidelines, other guy, manager 1 and manager 2 have acceptable color and styles? To which she said yes, and I asked, "And is my hairstyle okay? Did you want me to cut it a certain way or anything? Or is it just the color?" She started getting annoyed again, and said, "You can keep it like that, just get rid of that color." So I confirmed that I would have it sorted before she came in next week, which seemed to satisfy the beast, and she walked off in a cloud of smugness at having laid down her law. As soon as she was out of the door, I told the shop managers what I was going to do, and they laughed, but said they'd have my back when she came in again. So, my blue patch of hair had to go, no problem. Colored tips, dyed blonde hair and maroon hair, like the other staff had, were all hunky-dory. So that weekend, I did all 3 to be on the safe side. I bleached all my hair near transparent blonde, with maroon tips, spiked up in my usual style, as apparently that wasn't an issue. Well, turns out that's not what the regional manager had in mind. Kel surprise. She came in the next week and lost it, took me in the back with the two shop managers, shouting about how I was blatantly ignoring her, and that she was going to see to it that I was fired. I acted innocent and surprised, and said that I had checked with her that this would be okay before she left. My hairstyle was fine, colored tips on the other guy was fine, and she had confirmed that the maroon hair the shop manager had was fine. She was not backing down, and assured me she'd report me to the head office for my disrespecting a regional manager like that. She stormed out of the shop on her merry way, so again I told the two shop managers what I was going to do, which was get in touch with the head office's HR department myself, as I was following all written company regulations, as well as the regional manager's arbitrary rules, and she seemed to be discriminating against me personally for whatever reason, and I would be pursuing unfair dismissal, as there was no reason to fire me. I was damn good at my job and got on well with all the customers and staff. It was only the regional manager out to get me. So, I did just that, emailed the head office's HR saying what had happened, and the two shop managers also emailed on my behalf backing up that I was following all guidelines including the ones the regional manager made up, and that I was a model employee, for them anyways, but I liked them, and they would attest that I was being singled out and harassed by the regional manager if I got dismissed because of this. The next day, the shop managers called me in to say HR had been in touch, and that of course I wasn't going to be fired, and there is no company guidelines for things like hair color, and not to worry at all about it, have my hair any way I wanted once it wasn't unkempt. Awesome, that's all I wanted, happy ending. Now, let's do the super duper happy ending. Diddle-do, diddle-do, diddle-do. Couple weeks later, the new regional manager walked in to introduce themselves. Turns out, I wasn't the only one having issues with the regional manager being on a power trip. After they had several complaints from staff and managers in different stores throughout the area, she was demoted to a regular store manager. I was the straw that broke their back, it seems. District manager tries to throw me under the bus when caught not doing his job and inadvertently provides self-documentation to the president/owner that he's lying. I'm the HR director for a small company of between 250 to 300 employees, and I comprise the entire HR department. Part of my role, obviously, is recruitment. I and the operations director have been working with a couple of our district managers lately because they just aren't providing quality training and engagement to really good new hires that I've gotten after they've left orientation with me. So basically, quality employees are firing us, for good reason, and it's making my job harder. I can live with that and not take my beef to the DM usually because my president/owner is aware, and has the ops manager working with them on it, so my job isn't at risk. Doesn't really matter if a few people don't think I'm good at my job when I know I am, and the guy who signs my checks does too. Where I lose it though, is when someone falsely accuses me of something to my president, especially when I have clear documentation otherwise. Today was one of those days, but it turned out better than I could have expected this time. So the DM emails the president complaining that he has a lot of current openings that I have not staffed, and that I'm not sending him people. President very kindly emails me and includes the DM in question, and the ops manager asking if I could just update everyone on my current standings and progress. Not accusatory at all. I send back a very matter-of-fact and optimistic email including the 11 recent new hires, 3 of which are from today, the 53 upcoming interviews, and include the 12 candidates I've recommended for hire from him that he has not responded about at all. These are for anywhere from PT, entry-level positions to full-time managers. I figure case closed, they can see we are making progress, don't really care if the DM looks bad for not following up, I'm going to keep doing my job well regardless. The DM replies ALL with an absolute scathing email saying he's not seen any new employees. Who am I talking about? He's interviewed everyone I've sent him even if I'm not aware, and basically says prove it. Okay. So I do. I email him and the president and the OM with a list of the names of the employees and their position, the candidates and positions I've sent him with no response, and documentation showing that he has not been updating his applicant tracking files showing anything on his end at all, so none of us have any way to see if he's actually doing anything. I even offer to resend all of the specific emails that I've sent him for each candidate with all of my notes summarized for his convenience if he's misplaced them, including the timestamp they were originally sent so he can prioritize the older ones. Not only is his response livid, but it's completely unprofessional and self-incriminating. He replies ALL to the entire exec team and says, "I'm sorry, I'm not organized and perfect like you," and then proceeds to admit to not using our software at all, not keeping track of my emails and notes, and having no clue as to who these people are because he isn't actually following company policy. The ops manager is dying laughing, saying, "I've never seen someone so angry that you answered his question." Meanwhile, the president has it in writing that not only is the DM inept, but he's a liar too. It's been a good day. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.